All right, we're live. Hey, what's going on, my CNC brothers? I figured let's just bring everybody on at once. Happy Wednesday, and it's time to do some CNC business talk tonight. But we are going to see the whole crew that's on board tonight. Of course, you know me. There's Julianne, the administrator for IDC Woodcraft, Liberty, the fulfillment manager, and we have Bill Keys tonight. For me, it's down there. Mm-hmm. All right. So, Bill Keys, we're going to be talking CNC business. So, if you want to know business questions or business stuff, we're going to talk about taking your CNC business from or how far you can go. Basically, that's the thumbnail that we've got here. And yeah, just the mindset. Even, I kind of want to know if people read books, if they read business books. But anyway, so. Julianne, what are you going to be doing tonight for us? I'm always telling everybody what you do.
Well, I'm going to be like sitting back here in the background, making funny faces at everybody. No. I'll be in the background, starring the questions and throwing all the links into the YouTube chat and down below in the description.
All right. We got a giveaway going on tonight, and we are getting ready to do a sweepstakes. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be fun. We talked about it today, planning that out. So pretty big deal in the sweepstakes, but we're not going to share what that's about yet. So, all right, well, Julianne will be in the background. If you have any questions, put a question in front of there so she knows what it is and she can put it in the queue for us. And I just want to say hello to Tim, Canadian, Bill, one of yours.
Yeah.
So Tim's first time here, and so he's from Canada, and Bill is from Canada. So we're just going to kind of dive in, folks. We're going to start talking about CNC business. We've got a few questions in here already. They may not all are about business, but that's okay. You can bring the other questions on too. But really, let's talk about business tonight. And first of all, I want to introduce to you Bill Keys and something else that he is going to be doing. So we have been working on distribution in Canada, formal distribution through the IDC Woodcraft website. And so we are working with Bill to make that happen so you Canadians don't have to deal with these stinking tariffs. It's been not just the tariffs, but the UPS upcharges that UPS likes to do. So we're working on that. We are, I don't know how far away we are from that yet. Liberty, any idea?
I really don't. Just because there's technical sides and regular sides, I don't.
Yeah, lots to do. But you can get some IDC bits off of Bill's website, cncbits.ca. So, all right. Bill, why don't you tell people who you are relative to CNC? You got the two aspects, your side hustle you started, and then the professional end.
Yeah, so a little bit about myself, for anyone who doesn't know. I have been in the, let's say, the sign industry for, I've lost count. I wish somebody would have said, when I got into this, remember this date because this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life, right? Nobody ever tells you that. So I want to say I probably started around 2000 in the sign industry, large format printing, graphics, that type of thing. Fast forward to 2010, I believe, is the first time I came across CNC. That's when I was forced, just like most of us, how to learn a CNC when it got dropped off in our shop, and they handed me the keys. So that's, I got thrown in, just cold feet, just here you go, figure it out.
Was that at the professional level?
That was a 5x10 industrial table.
Okay, big one.
That was the table that, it does exactly what you tell it to. If you want to plunge right down through that, 1/2-inch thick aluminum bed frame, it will do it. It'll break bits. It'll do. So fast forward to, I guess, oh my gosh, I'm losing track now. I think 2018, I bought a Shapoko for home base use. This is when they first started coming out, a little more user-friendly DIY, home-based CNCs. And I started diving into having a CNC at home to see what I could make and bring some of my, sign shop experience to home for, craft hobbies, and then turned into a whole, home-based sales business for me at the time. And then I think 5 years ago, I saw a little niche in the market about for us poor Canadians trying to get some quality CNC bits. It was just very difficult. Everything was Amazon, but it was shipped from the US. You would have to buy them from larger companies here in Canada that, cost a fortune, or you'd have to ship them in from the US, as most of them do. So that's where the CNC bits came from.
All right. Yep. And folks, forgive me, I'm starting to feel a little junky tonight, so my energy may not be up as much as we want. So, in talking about business, right? And it's really good that Julianne and Liberty are here too, because I do a lot of coaching with them, priming them, especially after a discussion today. But so starting off in CNC business for someone who hasn't really dove in yet, as someone who's been at this for quite a while. Actually, quite a long while. When did you get your Shapoko?
2018.
Okay. And you started making and selling products with your Shapoko. Before we get that question, all right, Why don't you tell a little bit about that journey on the side hustle side?
So it really started out more as an interest. Like, I had always loved having a CNC at the shop. And I'd always kind of kept my eye on, smaller ones for home. And when the Shapoko finally came out with, at the time, was a pretty advanced machine, was pretty robust, I kind of dove into it. And I really started just not relearning how to use the CNC, but, just scaling everything down. Everything was a lot smaller. I wasn't just cutting 4x8 sheets of signs. I was actually putting everything I used to make, small, intricate gifts. I started out by selling gifts, or not selling gifts, making gifts, making friends things for their walls, making Christmas gifts, making, anniversary gifts for friends and family, just to get the ball rolling and get my feet wet. And that's literally how it started when I made a gift for somebody, and then all of a sudden they turned around and said, I love that. I want to give it to so-and-so. How much? And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, here we go. Like, what do I do now? But I mean, thankfully for me, I had a background in selling signage. I kind of knew where I was going, but I wasn't expecting the demand that I got from these little things I was making.
Was it like lots of little different types of things, or?
I was making whatever I thought that person would enjoy. So I was making, depending on who the person, I mean, we're talking 7 years ago, so my memory's not super sharp on it. But like, for example, I think I've told this before, I had a friend who, we were big into Jeeps. He had a Jeep, I had a Jeep.
All right, Jeep man, yeah.
We've had an AMC Eagle, so I made a no parking sign for her birthday. He has the Jeep Willys. I made him a sign, for his birthday. So it was related to the person, not so much, what I wanted to make. It was what would they appreciate.
Okay. And then what happened? What was the progression here then, and the lessons that you were learning as you're moving along? Because you made mistakes like a lot of people do, and we want to help them circumvent those mistakes.
So the first thing that happened was when I got a request from somebody to repeat the sign that I had made them for somebody else. And that's when the light bulb went off that, hey, maybe there's a demand for certain type of objects that I can, Facebook, Kijiji, I can start selling them on Marketplace. So I started, once I had, one or two people ask about the same product. I put it on my Facebook and just said, hey, look what I made for so-and-so. And then that drew a little bit more interest. And that gave me enough feedback to say, hey, there's a market for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I did do the mistake of, hey, I've got a CNC. I can make cool stuff. Let's make a bunch of crap and bring it to a craft show. So I did that. I still have boxes full of stuff in my basement.
How long ago? How long have they been sitting there?
5 years now, probably.
Yeah.
Right. So I did that. I did I'm going to make a whole bunch of stuff because it's going to sell and I think it's cool. So why wouldn't other people think it's cool? Just to have it, collect dust in a box. So there's the one thing I'm going to say, and I'll probably repeat this over and over tonight, is it's the time, right? It's kind of like you hear this in the investing world. It's time in the market, right? The longer that you do something and stick with it and repeat it and learn, every time something fails, it's not a failure, it's a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. You learn what works and what doesn't work. You learn what not to do again, and then you learn what to repeat.
Yeah, that's such a good lesson. So to Bill's note there, you make something, you try to sell it, doesn't work. A lot of us do that. The thing to remember in business to get your success, you can't have success without failing. Failure is part of the process. So, but the other thing he said was, just because he thought it was cool, he made it and tried to sell it, and you still have a box full of that stuff hanging around.
Yep.
Yeah. So what's the lesson in that one?
Just because you think something's cool doesn't mean that somebody else does, right? A lot of people get into this, and it's understandable that we make things because we're learning how to use our machines, and we're like, I like dogs, so I'm going to make dog related things. Everyone loves poodles. Not everybody likes poodles, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm sure some of the stuff that I have, I'm sure I could sell it to the right person. But when you're going to a generic craft show, not everybody's looking for the little knickknacks, and it probably has a niche market that would probably work fine in. But that's something you just need to be aware of. If you're starting off making things and you are not niching down, but maybe you're doing it unintentionally, just be aware that product might not suit everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get discouraged. No.
It's interesting you say something about like, I thought you said something like for pets. And so if you're going to make stuff for pets, you might sell a couple at a generic craft show, but if you're at a show that has pet paraphernalia, it's a pet convention, you're going to have a lot more potential to do something. One of the things that I had a lot of people ask me is, what niche do they get in? How do they find a product? So what would you say about get into a niche? And I want to explain to you first, folks, about niching. Niching is specializing in a very narrow range of products, so you can specialize in a broader range in a product. For example, pet products. We had Kate on board, a month and a half ago, and she is now into dog shows. And she's like, oh, I can make that. And she started making it, refining it. She's selling it. She's selling these, what they call dog platforms, for like $300 on Etsy. And she's building a website. Just got a bug that just flew by. Yeah, that was Frank. Go back over there, Frank. Okay. Anyway, so she niched into a very, not just pets, but into pet show stuff, which is, people pay a lot of money for the pets, and the pet, and it's something that's used for actually showing the dog. So pretty high dollar item. Those are the kind of nice niches to get into. Lower volume, higher ticket, basically.
Yeah, and I'm sure she didn't plan out when she got her machine to be making dog platforms, right? It's something that you stumble in. And a lot of people, what happens is they buy it and they get, I'm not going to say impatient, but they're like, they panic. Like, what's my niche? What's my niche? Like, you might not even know what it is yet. You might not even have seen the product before, but you will be somewhere and you will see something and it will click.
Yeah.
And just like, the high-end unique products that are customizable, you find the niche of people that are willing to spend that little bit extra money, right? Like the people that are spending all this money on dogs, bringing their dogs to shows, grooming them. For them, this is just one more thing in their experience of having the dog at that show, right? They have the nice platform. Like this is adding to that experience for them. Like those are the niches that you hear about, and you when you reverse engineer why she's so successful, it makes a lot of sense. And they're just difficult to find.
Yeah. It's kind of like, let it come to you. It actually will come to you. But when you're trying to figure out a niche, don't try to do it by yourself. Sit down with people and brainstorm. It's I think it's in the Bible. Yeah, you got two people together and you got like a third mind going on, that kind of thing. But you can also brainstorm. You talk to somebody like Liberty here, who has a pretty creative mind, or Julianne. Women are buyers, so it's always good to tap into women. So Liberty, like, what are some crazy niches that kind of just pop into your head that you'd be going, that'd be kind of cool?
Gosh, put me on the spot. I like pieces that are like either so successful at looking like something that they're not, like it's a piece of wood, but it looks like something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't even tell it's made out of wood. Beyond that, I don't know. I don't know my niche. And so even as a buyer, I kind of just go for what catches my eye, which is very particular because I have weird taste.
Mm.
I have weird taste. You've seen my craziness.
That's why I asked you, because Liberty would have that off the wall kind of niche that people wouldn't think about, but she'd be going like, that's the coolest thing on the planet, and it could be totally useless, but
I've seen some wicked plant hangers that are like in all different sorts of shapes that I really like. There's so much of everything. Like I don't know.
Nice too. I'd be curious what she would do, because Julianne's into her own things. Mm-hmm. I'm going to bring you on, Julianne. You ready? Okay. Yeah. So Julianne, she likes her crystals, right? She's into other stuff. What would niches in that way be? Or some of the stuff that you could think of, not just the crystal stuff, but who knows?
I was going to say my niche, so to speak, is more of a dark, obscure, off the wall one that you wouldn't necessarily be comfortable with.
Okay.
Certain people of a certain age are like, oh dear. not to like, group anybody together, but it's sometimes strange. So
well, my daughter, she's into the vampire or witch, love story kind of thing.
Yep.
And she's into books. All those books that talk about that. And she has.
There's this like scene that I want to create from one of the books that I just read. That like it'd be completely useless, and it probably wouldn't make sense to anybody unless they've read the book. But so it's going to just be like this ridiculous, huge piece of art out of wood. But it's like this scene from the book that I can see in my head, and I need to get it out.
Yeah. So that's maybe a project coming down the pike. Yeah. So to see that Doug said, "Oh, Julianne, the dark side."
I'm staring at my skull on a stick right now. So
right.
If that tells you anything.
But it's really about sitting down and just talking to you. So when we were talking about the sweepstakes today, it was me, Liberty, and Adam. in about an hour and a half, and we came up with promotions that are going to be a total blast to make to promote the sweepstakes. It's going to be, it's so much fun, but that's the way it works. Anyway, Bill, we're kind of sidetracking now. Anyway, Julia.
But I mean, that's part of finding your niche is for most people, they start with something that they enjoy or something that they are into, right? So you get a group of people together that are interested in the same thing, and then you talk about it. And maybe these people don't have a CNC, aren't creative, can't make things, but they want something made for them. So you have that conversation, and then 5 people spit out 7 ideas, and maybe one of those ideas is like, hey, I can do that, right? If you get 5 people in a small group that are interested, chances are people, there's more people than just them interested in that. So
right, or you do what Ellen did. So she's in here. Madra 3212. She was in a funeral home, and she was talking about the CNC. I guess she was at a funeral, but turned out they needed someone to make custom. They needed to make replacement parts for vintage jukeboxes. Yeah. So she's the only person in the world that makes the vintage parts for these boxes.
That's how it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, all right. Thanks, Julianne. So yeah, niching is sometimes it just walks on you, walks up to you. You get out there long enough, and with that intent, it'll come to you. I've had lots of people ask me if I'd make something, but that's not my business. Liberty, have you ever had someone ask someone to make you something?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have people ask me to make them things all the time. Even before I was in CNC, just because I've done other handcrafting type things and other woodworking type things. I've made all sorts of things for people. As far as like more CNC based, I did make those flight trays for the coffee shop, but they didn't ask for them. I asked them if they would let me make them for them. Mm-hmm. And then the cutting board I did was actually a request from a friend of mine. So I just made it into a video to make it. Right.
That little paddle, do you remember that little paddle beer flight that I made?
Yep.
It looks like a little paddle for that bar, Mad Paddle. Now we should make another one and take it down to them.
Yep.
See, and again, this is how it starts. You make something for somebody. I did it when I first started. I made a sign for a coffee shop. I literally emailed the owner and I said, I'm just getting, my wheels going. I'd love to make you a sign. He sent me his logo. I made him a sign. But like you're saying, the beer flights, you make those, you start bringing those to microbreweries and bars, and you give them away. And then it just takes one person to be like, hey, you can do this. Can you make these? I order these and they're generically made. I would love to have each of these displays for each type of beer that we carry every month. Like that's all it takes, right? And then you've got an owner of a store that's willing to pay you money to do something. If he's willing to pay you money, then chances are there's going to be other owners in the same industry willing to give you money for the same product.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you need to make things.
Yeah. Make them and give them away. Don't try to. Yeah, you're adding value. This places that I made this beer flight for is called Mad Paddle. So it was just in the shape of a paddle, like a canoe paddle with a very short, the stem.
Yeah.
They since shut down, but they were interested at first, but then the owner was thinking of selling. So we'll have to make another one because it's now got new owners.
Yep, new owners.
Mm-hmm. And they've changed things around quite a bit. Let's see if we can get some of these questions out of the way here.
All right. Starting off with Richard of Rocklin, California. What are the best extensions to purchase for download for my VECTRIC 12 Plus? Example, 2D, 3D, STL, SVG, etc.
Oh, okay. I'll show you how to find that, my friend. I'm going to share screen. So we got a couple questions here that are not oriented to business. So just give me a second here. So the best way to tell the downloads is you can go, if you want to, let's see. So we're going to go open. And so this is the directory. You can get on the lower right corner right down there, and it's got the file type right above the open menu, and you hover over it, it tells you all your 2D file types you can upload. So we're going to close that. And if you go to the bitmaps, we're going to click that one, which is there, and you click that, and it's going to show you all the bitmaps you can download. And finally, your 3D models, you can click that, and oops, let me close that. Click that, and click that little drop down, and they'll tell you all the 3D models that you can download into your VECTRIC software. All right, got that one. What's next?
All right. We've got Tim Sands from Nova Scotia.
Yeah, Canadian.
Yeah. So figure we'll go ahead and bring this one out since we've been talking about it tonight anyways. For you, have you ordered any IDC bits? He was asking another customer, but he's wondering what the tariffs like and what the experience is like, which I think we kind of answered that with, the hope of working with Bill to get shipments over there. To be honest with you, from my end, everybody has a different experience. Some people hate DHL. Some people hate UPS. Some people hate USPS. And I literally can't keep up. At one point, we thought we kind of had okay, everybody hates this one. And then it changed again. And everybody's requesting that one. And so as far as tariffs, again, some people have had better luck with USPS, but then it takes way longer to get there. Some people have had better luck with DHL, but it gets there quicker. Or then some people it's been more expensive for. So it's kind of more so based on your area. I know Bill was even saying that he knows, some areas in Canada don't deliver to certain ones. So.
Yeah, Bill, anything you want to add to that about the tariff stuff?
It's hit and miss on obviously. I would just say to Tim that if he's looking for IDC bits, in the meantime, I do have a limited selection on my site. That's going to alleviate that problem. But even for me, I will order and get USPS one shipment. It'll have $30 duty, and the next shipment's $100 for no reason. And then sometimes it'll show up at my door with nothing. I can't explain it. It seems like I avoid UPS at all costs because sometimes the duty and shipping will be just as much as the item you ordered.
Yeah, it's a problem we've known about on this end for a long time. And it's not just IDC; it's anybody.
No, it's the border from between US and Canada. It's the shipping and.
Yeah, we do have some products on Amazon. Julianne, we have Amazon Canada and Amazon Mexico, right? So there you go. So right, Amazon US, Amazon Canada, and Amazon Mexico. It's not the full line, mostly just sets.
So I can tell you exactly what we carry on Amazon.
Okay.
We have the 11-piece set, the 6-piece set, both of our surfacing bits, the TBN set, which is our 3D carving bit, our rounding bits. We also have the guitar making set. We have our roughing set with the beast and the hog, the drilling set, the compression set, the O-flute set, and the 1/4-inch V-bit set.
There you go.
Here we come.
Boom, boom, boom. See, ladies got it all together. So in Amazon, it's all sets that we have. But yes, Canada, you can get stuff through Amazon there too. But we just don't have single bits in Amazon. I want to give you an idea of Amazon. And Julianne, we're going to bring you back on. I want to give you a little bit of back-end education on Amazon, folks. So you kind of know what we have to deal with, and the profit margins are much, much lower in Amazon. We spend a lot of money on Amazon.
Yeah. Actually, I just happened to glance at Tommy's question. No, you do not get M&Ms if you order from Amazon. That they'd have to be listed a whole lot different.
Yeah, considered a food item, and you have to certify through Amazon with food, edible items.
Yeah, so like it takes months to prepare a product,
and I wasn't willing to do it.
It takes a lot. What we do is fulfillment by Amazon, which means we package everything, we make sure everything's good in the package, and then slap the Amazon barcode on it, and then they ship that to you. So everything inside that package is from us. It just gets sent out via Amazon. And
so we have to ship it to Amazon. Amazon determines what warehouse it goes to. It can take three weeks to get to their warehouse because they'll bounce it around or something like that. But go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, so got to have the photos of it, got to submit different styles so our design guys can work on it. Every single bit of product information has to go in. And then we are now getting into the part of we need to do miniature videos on all of our Amazon products. So that's going to add more time. And you have to wait for the barcodes on a new product. You have to wait for the ASIN number so Amazon can categorize it somehow. It's a whole to do.
Amazon is such a big deal that we have contractors. We have Amazon experts that do a lot of work for us. They maintain the Amazon store, the IDC Woodcraft store on Amazon. And
that has its costs too. So
yeah,
not only time consuming, but it is somewhat on the pricier side.
DePello's eating his M&Ms right now. All right, so there you know something else that we have to deal with. I mean, you look behind Liberty and see all the inventory she's got. She's got to keep all that organized, and that's just some of it.
Yeah, this is just what we pull out of. This is already processed and labeled. That stuff's not processed and labeled. There's more over there.
We've had to expand into a whole nother apartment to hold the overflow.
We're still storing some bits in Julianne's room.
It's all good.
Right. Okay. Anyway, I'm not sure why we got an Amazon. Oh, we did because the Canadian.
One more addressment on that. There was a comment that saying UPS is the absolute worst for Canada shipping. I would love to agree with you, but I have some customers who require me to only ship them UPS and refuse USPS. And I have some customers that are the exact opposite. So you literally can't say one is good or bad because they're in different areas and have different effects. And while the tariffs have gone up, there has always been, and we have always had a complaint. It's just gone up.
Yeah. Tariffs have affected cost of carbide, by the way.
Yes.
Carbide is now doubled in price. So that's, yeah. All right. Thanks, Julianne. Just giving you guys, just so you see some of the stuff. You know, we have a team of 4 or 5 people, and they manage so much stuff. But anyway, okay, let's get on the next question.
All right. Looks like a happy dance kind of thing here. We've got Paul Hembrook. He won last week. 2 great things happened this week. First, after winning last week's drawing, I received my goodie box, which included some neat stuff, including a 90-degree V-bit. And second, my alt mill 4x4 is coming tomorrow. Schedule. Yay!
Super cool. Yeah, I've just been doing some work on my alt mill. We're sidestepping business a little bit, but I just want to show you. I had, because I'm going to be doing some other things to my machine, I needed to reconfigure my spoil board. So I'm going to show the other camera. Where is it? I think that's it. So there we go. So there you go. You can see I've got a lot more T-tracks on my spoil board now, every 4 inches. And I think I'm going to like that. It was 8 inches apart, and 8 inches apart is just not enough. It's too far apart. All right, Liberty, let's hit the next one. Hey, what's going on, Greg? Greg from STL has shown up.
Yeah.
Our brother Mark Lindsay, I think he's like with his wife for surgery or something like that.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll keep them in our thoughts.
Yep.
Screaming Goat CNC. Bill, from signs to hobby projects to running your own CNC bit company, what keeps you most excited about the CNC community today?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
One thing that I've taken notice of the last couple of years, there's a couple of things. The first one is just the level of advancement that we've seen in machines over the last couple of years. It is hard to keep up. Like it is hard to keep up with all these new machines coming out, and the level of machine that you can buy now for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 rivals machines that were $30,000 a few years ago. It's just like the machines are so well built, so rigid. Like they've put so much thought into smaller, compact, hobby-based machines that it's so impressive. The other thing that it excites me is just the actual community around hobby, like this stuff here, right? 5-10 years ago, this didn't happen. Like there was no community. When I first started using CNC, there was no group of people I could ask. I couldn't call up somebody and ask them a question. I couldn't send somebody an email unless it was, the manufacturer, and they never really explained things well. They just kind of assumed you knew what you were doing. Now you can you can Google your question and have an answer in 5 minutes, or you can find somebody that does know the answer. It's just the community itself is just exploding. So that's really nice to see.
Yeah, you aren't kidding about how it's just in the 5 years I've been doing it, it's come a long way. Now it's like 4x4 is like the machine to get. And now they're getting more advanced with the as this industry is starting to mature. Now we're starting to see the automatic tool changes on the hobby level machines. Spindles are on everything now.
When I got my Shapoko, it was the biggest CNC you could get at the time, 32 by 32. Like you couldn't get any bigger unless you wanted to spend upwards of $10,000-$15,000. Like you couldn't. And now it's little.
But that question, Bill has been involved in CNC for not just in the CNC, but in the communities for a long time. You're moderator on quite a few CNC groups. And I remember the very first message I got from you was after I started the CNC Entrepreneurs Facebook group. So if you're not in that group, Julianne will put a link in for you and join the CNC Entrepreneurs Facebook group. But your first message was, I'm so glad somebody made this group.
That
was 5 years ago.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago. Yeah, I think there was 300 or 400 members in it at the time, and I'm the admin on several pages. I have the Canadian one, and for any Canadian users, there's CNC for beginners, not CNC for the beginner, any of them. Anyway, I'm on a bunch of them. So I've been in this group, like the Facebook groups, since there were Facebook groups.
All right. Yeah. So he's a moderator for the IDC Woodcraft Facebook group as well. All right, Liberty, let's hit the next question.
All right.
Remember, we're going to be doing a giveaway here at another 50 minutes.
We'll see. I am interested in trying to use HDU material to make signs. The material is very expensive. Can you give some advice on using this material for making signs and tips on how to best work with it? Thanks.
Yeah, I've used HDU in the past, and like he says, it is very expensive material. You really need to just make sure you're doing everything correctly the first time. The nice thing about HDU is it cuts like butter. It holds a carve. It holds a carve incredible that you can get so much detail out of HDU. The heartbreaking part is when you make a mistake, because it is quite expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I can't quite remember the paint, but you should prime your HDU. You want to prime both sides if you're planning on painting it, which you probably are because it is a raw material. You want to prime both sides of your material. You don't want to leave one side open because it will eventually warp. One side will start to receive moisture where the other side is blocked off. I wish I could remember the name of the paint. There's a sign making paint that I used years ago that works really good. I don't think it was one shot. But I think if you go to Precision Board's website, who makes HDU, they're probably like the OG HDU manufacturer, Precision Board. You go to their website, they have a ton of information on products that they recommend. And I would go with what they recommend, the primer and then the paint.
Okay. So HDU, so it accepts like this certain kind of paint. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not a certain. It's just can't remember the reasoning. It's probably been 5 or 6 years since I've touched it.
Okay.
But
Julianne,
they recommend it.
Okay, sorry. Keep talking. Julianne put a link in there for that website.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, they have the recommendations. Like, I wouldn't just guess and go to Home Depot and pick up some primer. I would do some homework and make sure that it is the certain type. It's not. Again, it's not oil based. It's not acrylic. There's a certain type of primer and paint that they recommend.
Okay.
Go with that, because you don't want to put an oil base. It might eat the material. You want to just whatever the manufacturer recommends.
What kind of bits for HDU?
I mean, you can I've used whatever I've had on hand. I mean, if you're using a ball nose bit, it cuts so incredibly easy that you should get great detail with pretty much any nice sharp bit. I wouldn't use a compression bit. I would use either a down cut bit, a ball nose bit, probably a V bit for, depending on the look and style that you're going for. But a nice sharp bit should cut great.
Yeah, I've always used the O-flute bits.
Yeah.
So, HDU cut, like they said, it cuts so nice. Liberty, you were there when I was cutting that, making that statue like that. It's just, even the chips. So you just want to hold the chips and play with them in your fingers.
So fun. They were like little rice things.
Yeah.
It's and you can get different densities, but again, I priced a sign I want to say it was a couple of years ago, but I was going for a 2-inch thick, and I was like $1,600 a sheet or something.
Wow.
Yeah, it's expensive.
4 foot by 8 foot?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
what about exposure to sun? Is it an indoor, outdoor?
That's why you want to go for the paint. It is an outdoor material if you finish it correctly. Right? It's the same as anything else you put outside. It's going to be weather and UV that are going to be the killers, UV mainly. So as long as you follow the proper recommended, techniques for painting and finishing, then you should be fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do the next one. I do want to just throw in, there was a comment there from, that I see this from time to time. Greg answered it for this guy, but I want to kind of spread this a little bit further. So he said he's curious if most people use VCarve Pro or Spire. He has Pro, but he's curious about what others think. So Aspire is there for creating the 3D models. So you have your VCarve Pro, which is going to create your 2D files, and when you can import the 3D models into it. But if you want to create your own 3D models, then you're going to Aspire. If you're brand new, don't get the Aspire. You're wasting your money because you can always upgrade later. The software, the company will let you upgrade for the price difference for a certain period of time. Learn how to design first at the basic level and work your way up. All right.
Carveco Maker.
Say again? Oh,
You can Carveco Maker Plus has 3D. You can design basic 3D shapes and images.
Yeah, you're a Carveco guy.
I am. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, let's get to the next question.
All right. Doug Anderson. My problem is someone sees something they like, but they want it a little different. They know I have a CNC and they want to reproduce cheap. Cheap is not actually an option, especially in a one-off. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. People have an expectation, and unfortunately, you have to disappoint them.
Yeah.
Your craft is worth more than whatever other craft that they're trying to repeat, likely from a box store. I mean, I don't know if y'all have any more input, but I'm just saying, like, you're gonna run into that, and that's unfortunate. But you have to hold your boundary and your value.
Liberty's on the mark there. Take the word cheap out of your language. If someone's coming at you and they're trying to talk you down, trying to be cheap, just, sorry. You don't need to convince people of your worth.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it is, I mean, this goes into a lot of things, but one of the things is just knowing your numbers, right? If you can explain to somebody why for you to do that costs this much money, and if you can explain that to them intelligently, knowing your numbers, knowing how much your material costs, knowing how much you charge for this, knowing how much, if you can say that and be confident in it, then that gives them an understanding of why. Yeah. And the other thing, depending on the customer, right? Because you don't know, sometimes you get a feel right away. One of the best things you can do is say no. Just flat out no. Don't even start the conversation. That just frees up your mind and your time to do something else. Don't dwell on it. The best thing you can do is say no and walk away.
Yeah. Remember what Bill's saying there. If you need to feel like you need to justify yourself, you're looking for validation. You're trying to validate somebody who has a lower sense of worth to see you at a higher worth. It's not going to happen. Our brother Mark Lindsay is on board. Mark, understand things went well with your wife, so we're glad, and we're glad to see you here, brother.
Another example of the cheap thing. So I get this all the time at the sign shop, where people will come in with their phone open and be like, here's something I found on Etsy. I thought I could get it cheaper locally. And I just flat out say no. And then when they're like, well, it's just this. And then I said, okay, so this is just about time. It's not about the material. It's not about what you see. It's what goes into making that. And I'll point over to my designer and I said, so her time is worth $100 an hour. So if you want her to design that from scratch, it's $100 an hour for her time. Plus we have the time for production. Plus we have the materials. Plus we have the time for installation. Like, you're better off just to order it on Etsy, sir.
Yeah. There's one from Greg. If somebody immediately tries to talk them down on price, they're not his customers. And that's a good point. Don't be afraid to fire a customer. We fire customers at IDC Woodcraft. When we get treated with disrespect, with the level of care that we work to give our customers, and then somebody comes at us, we'll take the moment to explain if there's something to try to clear it up. But if they're just not willing to bend, then we fire them. We'll say, this company over there, they got good bits, and I'm sure that they'll be able to solve your problem better than we can. And we humbly back away.
And you know what I've done too is I know places that will do that type of work, and I just recommend somebody else.
Yeah.
Right. Then you're still helping the customer. There's no bad feelings. You're like, sorry, I don't do that, but they do. Go see them. I'm sure they can help you.
Yeah. This is good mindset stuff. Bill and I have had shows. We've done several podcast. We haven't done an IDC Woodcraft podcast in a long time.
A long time ago.
Even me independently. But that would be kind of fun to start doing the podcast again. But one of the things we talked about was don't race to the bottom. When you see people charging less, you're going to cheaper territory. You're looking and you're comparing yourself. Instead, you want to find a market that's going higher. You can sell the same cutting board for $25, $20 at one craft show and sell it for $2,000. Well, maybe not that, but it depends on the cutting board. The same cutting board you sell for $80 at another craft show. That's higher level people. It's more geared towards that kind of stuff. All right, just knowing your market, what have you. Okay, next one, Liberty.
All right. So this one's kind of for me. I'm going to answer it real quick. This is Linda Russell. Do I have pictures of the flights? I'm assuming the coffee flights. So unfortunately, I do not. Those got ditched in a Google Drive ditch recently, and I did not get a chance to save them. So I'm going to see if we can get some new photos of those because they are actually at our local coffee shop, so I can post those. But no, unfortunately, we do not have any pictures of them right now.
You don't have one there at the office?
No, I gave them to the coffee shop.
Okay. Those are so cool. Those coffee flights are so cool, too.
All right. Is there a plywood besides MDF that is good for large indoor signs?
Bill, what's your
So I guess that's a multi-layered question. So
yeah.
Does it have to be wood? I guess would be my first question, because if it's indoors, there's several different materials. MDF is great for indoors because, it's out of the elements. If it has to be a plywood, then I would use a Baltic birch just because it seems to be more dimensionally stable and it's more expensive. But furniture grade Baltic birch just doesn't, it doesn't warp like a cheaper veneered plywood from Home Depot. Personally, for me, when I'm making indoor signs, I use PVC. Very stable, will not warp due to moisture. It's easy to cut. It's easy to paint. It's light, depending on how crazy you want to get. That's what I use at the shop for indoor signs. If we're going to go super high end, I'll use acrylic. But the price kind of triples after that. But readily available plywood that you can get, I would go with real Baltic birch. There's Extera, which is an exterior grade MDF, which takes moisture well.
Yeah, so MDF is not a plywood, by the way.
No, it's not a plywood.
MDF is it's a fiber board, and so the MDF stands for medium density. So there's a high density, there's a low density fiber board.
Yeah, but if I was going to do a large sign inside, I would use PVC.
Okay. Some guys are talking about color core.
Yeah. That's HDU, isn't it? Or HDPE.
Yeah,
the thing about color core is, you're very limited to what you can do. You can carve through it and you'll have two colors. But for me, that's fine if it's a playground or something like that. But that doesn't fly unless it's an outdoor parking sign or something like that.
Right.
I don't know. I'm kind of picky, I guess.
And no, Jack in the shop said, do not put PVC under a laser. It will gas toxic gases.
Don't throw it in the fire either.
Doesn't that put out chlorine gas?
Yeah, it's something that's not good.
No, that's chlorine gas. Gas is fatal. Okay, Liberty, next one.
All right. If you save a project as a template and then you need to make a change, can you modify the template in VCarve Pro?
So you can't modify the template. You don't want to modify the template. The template is your base drawing of what you're doing. What you would do is you would open a file, import the template, and you cannot save that template back to the same file.
Right. So you can adjust it, but it won't affect your original template. You'd have to save a new template if you want a new shaped template, or just use that file as is, and it won't affect your template.
Yep. But you can make a change all you want to the template once you start it. If you go to save it, it's going to ask you to save as a new file. And you make all the changes you want. The good thing about templates is once you come up with a core project and you're going to repeat it and you're just going to change something like the name in it or something like that, then that's what templates are for. Bill, have you've used templates, haven't you, in your work?
I don't use VCarve. So I use CarveCo.
But I mean, CarveCo, do you use a template format where you create something, you have a template, and then you import that template? It's got all your base drawing stuff on it.
I'm sure there does. I don't use it. I think there's an option for projects like that. You can bring in a project. That's what they call it.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, a lot of my base drawings are done in Illustrator, the base vector, and then I just bring those vectors in.
Okay. Why don't you do your drawings in CarveCo? Since you got everything.
Designer.
That's why.
So I have a designer at the shop.
Okay.
But if I'm doing stuff at home, I do use CarveCo.
Okay.
I will use sometimes I use Illustrator for tracing and other options, but I'm way more proficient in CarveCo, tracing vectors and creating vectors in Illustrator.
Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, sorry, Liberty, I just overrode you. Our brother Terry up the hill, he said he saw a video on VECTRIC on text templates this afternoon. So maybe we'll see if we can find that video and plug it in.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Referring back to Richard's question, are some purchased file extensions more problematic than others? Kind of depends what you're going for. I mean,
so in my experience, since I don't import all these different types of files, right? I import what I have. Normally, I use either if I'm going to import from some other software, it's a DXF or SVG. Your DXF is going to give you a buttload of nodes. The DXF is nothing but a bunch of straight lines. So I always prefer SVG because that takes in the Bezier curves and far fewer nodes. As far as other ones, I don't know. Dan says DXF is problematic because it has so many nodes. I'll agree with that one. Mark or Greg, if you know of any files that are problematic that are relatively common to import.
I find DXF files too. Sometimes they come in the wrong aspect ratio, where somebody, you think you're buying something that's 10 by 10 and it comes in at 2 by 2, or for whatever reason, when some people save DXF files, they just go file save as, and if you just do that very quickly, that file won't be the right size, just depending on how that program is set up to interpret it.
Okay. Yeah. So, everybody's mentioned DXF. Yeah. It's because it's got so many nodes.
Yeah. They've been the most problematic for me. That's the only one I can remember that's been problematic.
All right. Next one.
All right. Carl Jensen. Does Bill have projects on his website that can be purchased? There you go. Clear out those totes, Bill.
No, I don't. I have piles of projects, but I've never uploaded them anywhere to be bought, I guess. Mainly because when I make them, I'm not thinking of somebody else making them. I've got my process in my head. So in order to make it, easily reproduced by somebody else, I would have to go back to the drawing board and kind of configure things, because sometimes when you're making things, sometimes you just do it on the fly.
Yeah.
change things as you go.
So I can attest to why Bill doesn't even go there. Just because when we have a few files, we're going to be adding more to IDC Woodcraft, but inevitably you're going to get emails on it. You're going to get questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? Right. And so you have to give some guidance. So here's one that the beginner's first project. This is home. Julianne, put a link for this. But you get, I've got all the instructions to try to cover all the questions that people ask me. It tells you how to set the project up, all the materials you need. And it's got the G-code file to it. So for the ones getting new alt mills or new CNCs, get this, make this project. It's one you can use, and it gives, it's just a good starter project, one bit. All right, next one.
All right. So I was saying goodnight to Ellen.
Night, Ellen.
Bill, have you found doing one-off projects more profitable than a production run item?
I guess it depends what you mean by production run. So if you are selling to an unknown buyer, meaning that you are going to make one product to bring to a craft show, or you're going to bring 5, I wouldn't recommend making 5 of something that you don't know is going to sell. Now, if you have an established market and established customer base, and you're confident that you can sell multiple of the same product, then a production run is more efficient and more profitable, because as soon as you start stacking things together, the efficiencies start to take place, and that's really where you're going to make the most profit is when you start getting efficient, producing the same product over and over and over again. You're not wasting as much, you're quicker time. I don't know if that's you, Garrett, but I get a lot of feedback.
Yeah, it's me. It's raining really hard right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to mute myself so that noise doesn't overload.
Nope, that's better now.
Yeah, I did mute you while you walked away just because it got a little bit louder.
I thought it was just me.
I had to close the door. So it's the barn door at the back of the shop here.
It is really coming down, so I'm not surprised.
Well, I hope that answers your question. I wouldn't, if you have an established product, then production runs are always the way to go.
I like Mark's answer. I've always thought the letter S in the word custom should be a $sign, because there is a different area of effort when it comes to custom items, one-off items, versus something that you develop or that you can redevelop multiple times.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the key of having the CNC is that you can customize things. So one of the things that I used to make a ton of was monograms. And again, it was an established, so you want to talk, here's a good example of production run versus, one-off. Each product was one-off for the customer, right? Each one was tailored to the customer, but I would take orders one day, send proofs out the next day, and then produce everything the following day. So I would sit there and spend 8 hours in my garage pumping out 30 monograms. It was the same process over and over. So I would pre-cut my panels to fit my machine. I would cut the material efficiently. I would have a process in place. While one was doing one thing, I was doing another one. It was a production run of custom products. So if you can get to that point, that's where the efficiencies and the money really starts coming in.
Right. When y'all started out, how did you balance material costs, time, and profit when setting prices for projects? That's from the Screaming Goat.
This falls back to knowing your numbers. You need to know what things cost. You need to know what you want to charge, depending on how you want to do it. Are you going to charge hourly? Are you going to charge by the project? Are you going to charge just a straight markup? You need to know what you want to pay yourself. If you're just starting out and this is a hobby, Some people are happy to have their materials paid for, have their time paid for, and then have enough money to buy more materials for the next project. It's okay when you're first starting out, but as you get more serious, I would highly recommend that you get together a pricing strategy that you can apply to all of your projects, where you figure out exactly, what your material costs are, what you are going to charge for that. Nobody can tell you you should charge 1.5x on all your material. Nobody can say you should charge 2, you should charge 3. That is up to everybody else's. Everyone has a unique position. We all have different costs, living expenses. Some people work out of their basement, some people work out of the shop. Like, everyone has a different situation. But if you have a pricing structure and you are keeping track of your expenses, then you can make an educated decision on what to charge. If you put down all your prices, if you decided randomly to sell something to somebody for $80, and then when you're done, you've sold that item, you reverse engineer it, and all of a sudden you realize you're working for $5 an hour. So if you have that information in front of you before you give them the price, then it just gives you the confidence to know that you're actually making money. If they say no, then it wasn't meant to be, because you weren't going to make any money anyway. So it's just track everything. How many paintbrushes do you use? Did you have to buy a can of paint? Did you use double-sided tape? Did you use, painter's tape and CA glue? Keep track of all this stuff. How long did your CNC run for? How long did it take you to design it? Once you start gathering this information, then you can kind of predict when somebody asks you for something. You have an idea in your head. Well, that's going to, that's 4 square feet of maple that I'm going to use. It's probably going to take me 45 minutes of design time. I probably have an hour of CNC time. Probably going to have a half an hour of finishing. You can start estimating all these costs and then apply your pricing to it. And then there's your price.
And therein why custom jobs are going to cost a lot more. Because it gets harder to estimate that in, especially when you got to redesign. You got to take more time configuring your stuff with your machine, getting things set up. All right, next.
All right.
Do I still have the background noise?
A little, but it's not nearly as
It's
bad.
better.
All right. Charles Carberry. Bill, have you ever used ColorCore for signs? I was thinking of using it for address signs.
Yes, I have. And yes, that's perfect. Said ColorCore is a HDPE, so high density polyethylene. It's meant to be outside. Loves it. That's perfect. There's cool things that you can do with ColorCore, but at the same time, you are limited because you've got the 2 colors. You've got red on the outside and white in the middle. You can't paint it. So
I want to throw in this comment that Robert had. He says, I had a client that wanted to know my profit margin. And he said, it's not his business. And he just gave him a price. No, it's not your business. Anybody who is normal should know what your profit margin is, but they don't need to ask. If they do, they're stepping in too far. Just give them a price.
yeah, it's none of their business.
That's from a business person's end, that's an insult.
Yeah. And realistically, I mean, if because I don't know. I won't get into it. No, it's none of their business.
You're always going to find those kind of people, though.
Yep.
And you got to harden your shell around them. Can't let them bother you.
Ronnie, Bill, where do you buy your PVC?
Well, assuming that you are in Canada, I buy mine from a couple different plastic suppliers. One is called Layered Plastics. The other one is EM Plastics. Any sign supply business is going to have it. So if you're in the US, Grimco Fellers might have it. So anyone that supplies, sign making supplies to sign shops should carry PVC. And it comes in different thicknesses, 1/8 inch all the way to 2-inch if you want to pay for it.
Wow.
I just had a thought that I want to share, because just stepping back a little bit about the custom stuff and what have you. You want your business to be boring. You want to be able to ideally cookie cutter as much as possible and get out of the customization. If you're going to go into customization, you've got to find a higher client. You go on higher ticket. Right? And you're going to have to elevate your own sense of worth and start going in that direction.
Brandon, I'm having issues with my down cutting bits in my Makita router. Using just under the IDC feeds and speeds, the bits slowly work their way out. Would a new collet fix this issue?
Okay, well, that's called bit slip.
Uh-huh.
Right. And bit slip is generally caused by not cleaning the collet. Right. It's something that people come into. It happened to me in the very beginning. Every time you change a CNC bit, you need to clean the collet. What happens is sawdust, even though you can see the chunks, it also creates real fine powders too. And those fine powders are going to start getting up inside your collet, and you're going to change things out. You're going to start getting that little micro pieces in between the inner collet and the router bit. And that's going to act like basically little ball bearings. And those little ball bearings, by the shape of the bit, right? They always want to go down. Bit slip for some reason always wants to go down. I don't know why that is. If anybody's had bit slip go up, I'd like to know, because I've never experienced bit slip going up. So the other thing is, if that doesn't solve the problem, then your collet could be worn out. And one other thing, if a collet is too smooth on the inside, it loses its grip. Mm-hmm. We've actually had to learn that when I was in metal machining. And it's just not it's too smooth. It's super mirror finish. Okay.
Bill, have you ever made a sign using a diamond drag bit?
I've played around with them. I've made a couple little knickknacks here for home. I've never made a commercial sign using the drag bit. I've made commercial signs out of acrylic, carving into the acrylic to give that etched effect, but not a drag bit, just because the time involved, one, and most of the time you can achieve a better finish if you use the proper, O-flute, and you flame treat it. You just get a nicer finish, because as soon as they start doing a commercial, the expectations are just a little bit higher. And a drag bit, I find, just depending on the sign, just doesn't quite meet those expectations. And I tried it. It takes a long time. So as soon as you start, using things on a 5x10 table, a drag bit would literally take days and days and days.
Yeah. Jeff is out there from Windy City Smokers. And I would love, now that he's dialed in one single product, right, that smoker. Yeah. I would love to know how he has dialed in his price on that. I know he's still working on efficiency on that. But
the thing is, when you find your product, that's when the profits start to come in, because that's when you've niched down, which is great, but then the efficiencies come when you start producing the product, right? Because instead of making one off, now you can, you're buying the same piece of material. How many can you fit on that same piece of material? How quickly can you cut it? How can you save 5 minutes per pass as you're going? Like, can you paint 5 at a time instead of 1? Like, that's when the efficiencies start coming in and profit starts going up.
Yeah. And so you got that. The other thing was, I just want to mention with Jeff, we had him on kind of spontaneously a few weeks ago. And he said, I just went for the top. So I'm just going to go be the highest priced smoker out there. And he just made a high quality smoker. And I started
just add perceived value, right?
Yeah. Add perceived value, give it something different. So the cool thing with his, it's an experiential type of thing. You got this bell jar, and the smoke just kind of swirls around the bell jar. It's so cool to watch. It's hypnotizing. So we got no more questions in the queue. So have you seen any comments? Oh, there's one.
I was about to pull this one up.
Yeah.
Any intel on whether CNC Labs' current spindle offerings will be compatible with their ATC, or will it require a new spindle purchase?
Okay, so CNC Labs, they're working on the 4x8, and when I was talking to them last, I talked to them about that. And oh, by the way, send Chris Thorogood a congratulations email. He got married just a week ago, 2 weeks ago. It's from CNC Labs. He's one of the owners. Anyway, when I was talking to him, he said, if we're going to do a 4x8, it's the tool changer is a gimme. So they started working on a tool changer, and the tool changer is going to be compatible with the 4x4, and they're trying to work to make it compatible for the 4x2. Let's address that question. Is compatible. I'm going to get back to that question for a minute, see if I make sure I answer it. Until the current spindle offerings will be compatible. Yeah. So I don't know if their current spindle is going to work. They don't particularly like the red line technique, which is where the spindle turns in reverse to back it off. And instead, they are going with the air release. Yeah, that questionable look in there, Bill. I thought
trying to connect to the chat.
When I was talking about red line, I was talking about them reversing their spindles don't do it.
No, I'm trying to figure out why this isn't working.
So anyway, that's the story of CNC Labs right now. All right, you see any comments or anything, Liberty? It's worth pulling out.
No, I see people arguing. They need to stop arguing. They're both saying the same thing. Literally. Okay, so one person made a comment about how they're like, essentially your customer doesn't realize that they are paying for your tape, your glue, your electricity, your time, etc. But you absolutely are factoring all of that into your pricing in some sort of way. That is what said person was saying. The other person thought they were saying that the person doesn't have to charge for all those things. And that's what they are saying. So just clarifying that here for everybody. You charge your people what you charge, figure it out, don't argue about it. But no, I don't really see any questions going on. I will say that Mark did bring up a good point in case anybody here didn't understand what a drag or doesn't know what a diamond drag engraving bit is before that question came in. Is diamond drag bits, the spindle doesn't move. It is for engraving. So you can do things like acrylic, glass for signage, but not so much for like the big signs that you might be thinking of.
Right.
So I think we're good for a giveaway if, I mean, at least to go ahead and pop in, and we might get a few more questions that you guys want to go for it, but
yeah, well, how would you go for it? There's your hashtag. Any kind of wrap up, Bill, that you want to give here? This is kind of a let's just talk business shop kind of thing, but what would be a good wrap up? I like the idea of just if you haven't been in business, just go out and work it and just make things and make sure you get eyeballs on it.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I guess a lot of people need to take into account is, so a lot of people will buy a machine and decide to make products and come up with cool ideas, and that's daunting, but in reality, that's the easy part, right? Making the products is the easy part. Selling the products is the hard part. And that's the hard part about business is selling the products and then, just repeating that process over and over again. And it just takes time. There's no other way to say it than time. You're not going to buy a CNC and get rich in 6 months. If you love to do it, then you're in it for the long haul. And the longer that you're at it, the more you learn, the more mistakes you make, the better that you're going to become.
Yep.
Absolutely. So you started Sam Coleman. Oh, brother Sam Coleman's out there. I haven't seen you in a while, Sam.
I agree with Sam, though. Everybody, click that like button. Click that like button.
Look at that. 210 people on board, and we only have 71 likes. We can do better. Yeah, come on. All right, so Bill, what we're doing now, you know about the giveaway, right?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, for everybody who doesn't know, you can enter what we've put on the screen here if you haven't caught on yet. Whether you call it a hashtag, whether you call it a pound sign, whether you call it a number sign, I don't care. Put it in front of the words, no spaces, and you'll be entered to win tonight. And we will be doing 2 drawings as usual. And if you entered and didn't win the first time, you are still entered and don't have to re-enter for the second drawing. So we'll let people get their entries in for a minute. We'll kind of gear things up, and then we will draw our first winner. Should we tell them what they're winning?
I think it'd be a good idea.
Okay. I'll grab it. Wait, are we giving which? Okay, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to say which one we're doing.
Whatever.
Bill, you have to put that hashtag in too. So, Bill, you got to put the hashtag in.
Yep, you got to enter to win too, Bill.
Yeah, so if Bill wins or I win, or if IDC Woodcraft wins, then the ladies are going to come up with something else. They may double the prize. They may make it another giveaway item. Who knows? Whatever they come up with. But it hasn't happened yet, so I don't know.
Okay, so for tonight's giveaway, we are giving away our drill bit set. These are our 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch cribbage board drilling bits. Oh, one of them's
The lightning drills.
There we go. Lightning drills. They're backwards, but they're beautiful. They are wonderful for doing holes, like avoiding tap drilling, avoiding fires and heating things up, doing things like your cribbage board holes, or I don't know, whatever else you do.
So these bits I had designed specifically for CNC routers, for the high speed of CNC routers. So they got multiple bevels at the end of the bit. It's solid carbide. It's got a deeper spiral, so you can do a complete plunge without peck drilling like you would normally do with drilling. So you do a straight plunge up to 1 inch deep on the 1/8 inch and the 1/4 inch both, and they run at high RPMs. So I think the 1/8 inch is 60 inch per minute to 1 inch deep. And so you get 1 second per hole at 1 inch. So it's lightning fast for cribbage board makers.
It is. So when I made my cribbage board, I forgot to flip off the tap setting.
Pecking.
Yeah, the pecking drilling. And so it first started doing it, and oh my goodness, I tell you what, I stopped that as soon as I could, and I redid it, and I still hadn't seen the lightning drill run at its full run yet, but I was like, I know it's not supposed to be peck drilling, so I redid everything, and I come back to it, and I swear it could have done 15 holes in the time it did that one.
Mm-hmm.
It was so fast. We almost couldn't get the camera angle changed fast enough. Enter it, Mark.
Go ahead, Mark. You can. But he wants one of those drills. Come on, Mark. Put it in.
On. Hello, Linda. Have you entered? You should enter. I don't know if you guys have a CNC, but we can figure out something else.
Yeah. Okay, he said he did. All right, so folks, we are working directly with Bill to be a Canadian distributor for us. He's up in Canada. He does have some IDC bits on his website, cncbits.ca. But what we're setting up is where you can order through idcwoodcraft.com, and for the Canadian orders, they will ship through him. That's not set up yet, though. It's a process. That's what we're doing to try to save some of those challenges that we have.
All right, we got 168 so far. We've got 220 people on. I say we do our first drawing.
I say we go for it.
Yep.
Oh, you played with the sound.
Hey, I saw my name!
Hey, woo! All right, Bill. Got a set of lightning drill bits. Dude, you're going to love these.
Of course, with some extra goodies in the package. Please head over to our website on the Contact Us page. Put in the subject Wednesday winner and put your information, including your name and your address and your phone number and your email and anything else you want to give us. We'll take it, but that way we can get your drill bits right to you. And there's still a bit of time for anybody who hasn't entered to go ahead and throw their comment down. Doggone Wood Productions. I love that name.
Look at what everybody's saying. So that's cool. Everybody congratulates the winners on these.
Yep.
I love saying that.
DNA sample. We'll take it.
DNA sample. Yeah, it's IDC Woodcraft CNC router bits and DNA genetic testing.
Branching out.
Yeah, we're slightly diverse.
I liked this comment. I'll go ahead and read it off since it's not really a question. So I started earlier from Screaming Goat CNC. An awesome quote that he saw. A man who works with his hands is a laborer. A man who works with his hands and his brain is a craftsman. But a man who works with his hands, his brain, and his heart is an artist.
That's cool.
And I like
It's on my website.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I like that. Heck yeah.
Totally cool. All right. We're ready to roll the second one?
How many we got sitting in there? 170 something?
171.
Okay.
All right.
All right, here we go. There we go. John Lingenfelser. All right, dude.
Had to think about that.
Actually, that was a long name. I got that off my tongue really quickly. Especially when I'm trying to read stuff all the time and I always get tongue twisted.
Mm-hmm.
John, congratulations. All right, brother, you got that. That drill bit set is nice. I'm like kind of mad at the girls for giving that set away. But of course, I give them free reign. They have a lot of power to do lots of things. That's tiny for what they can do.
Mm-hmm. I do this often, P-Flash. I do this often. I'll pull bits out to inspect them, and then I just O-flutes. I slice myself on O-flutes. We've taken so much skin.
Oh.
But yay, so same thing for you, John. If you could head over to our website on the Contact Us page, enter in your information, let us know that you're a Wednesday winner, and we will get you taken care of.
John's going, he love it.
Yay!
All right. Well, Bill, thanks for coming on tonight, talking a little bit about
No problem.
And so, folks, now you know this is going to be our Canadian partner to make things work better for you guys up in Canada.
Because we do love you all, and we want to service you as best as possible. We really do.
Yeah, we're excited, but it's like anything else. It takes work. It's new.
Great.
Got to test it. All right. Anyway, we're going to check out for the night. We will see you next week. I don't know who we're going to have for a special guest. Bill was kind of spontaneous.
Next week we have Mark Lindsay.
I say, I
Oh,
thought I
brother
saw
Mark, good. All right, we got Mark. All right, so y'all got to be here now. This is gonna be fun. Mark had Liberty on a live show, on his live show. That was cool. I watched I wasn't on it when it was live, but I did watch that. I was like, this is so cool. She's so famous. All right. Well, Bill, thank you. And folks, we will catch you next week. Talk to you later.
See you guys.